Okay, so in this particular illustration that we have here, we're going to work on drawing I, which is the hub drawing. And it's essentially a series of circles, and we're going to use the polar array to set the polylines and the other lines around the center. So let's see how we go ahead and do this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our template that has been prepared. And the template is actually accessed by saving it from Blackboard and then keeping it in some location, either on a thumb drive or your desktop or the S drive. And then what I'm going to do is go to new. I go to the red letter A and I go to new, and it prompts me for a tutorial, or rather for a template. I'm going to go down here and I put mine on my desktop, and I'm going to go here to drawing I template. And when we open it up, the giveaway that I have a good drawing right here is actually the fact that it says, I'm going to do a little bit of tweaking here, make sure this is all right. It says up here donut. That tells me that I have the donut layer, and we're good to go there. And I'm just going to tweak a couple things here like I always do. I tell you guys to do this, and we will have to make sure that a few things are turned on here in AutoCAD. So we're looking up coordinates and dynamic input and line weight, and also down here to units. So we turn those things on, and we have a full complement of items available. And now I'm going to go to my options. I'm going to turn my display on so it's a better contrast for you guys. This is not something you have to do, but I'm just changing the background color. And once I do that, it just will give a little better punch for these. Now notice that in this drawing that you have called out at the upper left a donut. And the donut gives us, the donut descriptor says ID is 5.75. Now, whenever you see ID and OD, those mean inside diameter and outside diameter. So that gives us the parameters that are going to be prompted when we draw the donut. So to access the donut, it's up here on the draw panel, and anything that is related to drawing is going to be here on draw. That's anything that puts lines or circles or arcs on your drawing. It's going to be on the draw panel. We click on the drop down, you see there's this donut right here. If we hold our cursor over it, it'll say donut, and we are now good to go. So I click on donut. And the first thing it asks us for the inside diameter, well, it tells us that that's 5.75. So we hit our enter key. And then outside diameter is 6.00. So you put in those two, it prompts you for them, and then you hit your enter key. And then you have this donut that you can just click and place anywhere you want. And when you click it, boom, you now have a donut. Okay, so that is now drawn. It's really just a polyline, but you know, that's what it says. So we have that on the donut layer, and now we're going to concentrate on the other circles that go around the outside of this. You'll notice that there's some dark blue circles, and those are called out. Their dimensions are called out actually over on the right. You see a diameter, the biggest one is a diameter of 8.25. So let's do that one first. So we're going to change our layer here to circles. So these are going to be dark. And then I'm going to go to circle, center diameter. And you guess where the center is going to be. It's going to be right there. Okay, so go ahead and wait till it lights up. And I click on it once I can. Boom. And 8.25. Boom. That's that one. And then I repeat that by going here, and I want to go ahead and make another one for 7.25 because there's another one at 7.25. So I want to make sure that's my diameter. So my diameter, and that's going to be 7.25. And we have that. So we have a couple of those circles. And there's one more circle that's a diameter 4.5, and that's called out at the lower right. So we can go ahead and draw that. Same thing, circle diameter. Make sure we get the center point, and it's 4.5. Boom, we're good to go. So now we're getting there, and we have our donut, we have our basic circles. All right, now it gets a little bit tricky because now we have to draw a polyline, and the polyline is called out of the upper right center area, and it says P line 0.05 width. Now a polyline can go into a drawing just like a regular line with no width assigned. So if I change my polylines layer, and if I go to my polyline command, you can notice that I can just go ahead and put in my line segments like this. And once I do that, you'll notice that it's different than a line. I'm going to draw a line over here. So my line is on the left. My line is on the left, and you'll notice that these are all individual segments. Okay, they can be broken off into individual segments. Okay, so they stand alone, each one. So the line does it that way, but the polyline makes them all one. That's the biggest difference between the two. There's a few others, but that's the basics. So I'm going to go and get rid of that. And if you double click on a polyline, it goes into the polyline edit command. I double click on it, and it says down here Polyline edit, saying, okay, right down here, it's asking you to do something. So we got Polyline edit right now. Now you'll notice that there's a bunch of options, one of which is width. You can change the width, you can close it, edit the vertex, a lot of different things, spline it. I can go to width. I'm going to type in 0.05, and this is asking me to specify a new width for all segments. So watch what happens when I do this. They all pick up a thickness right there. They all pick up a width, okay? It's still a polyline, okay? Now, that's what we're going to do for our polyline at the top. So watch how this works. We're going to get rid of that, and I'm going to create a polyline at the top. Now, I have to use my Quadrant object snap, and that's not turned on. So I go down here, and I go to my object snap settings, and I turn on Quadrant, because I'm going to want that. So I go to there, I start my polyline again, and I draw it from here. And I want to go to here, except right now I can change the width if I want to. So as I'm in this right now, before I go ahead and click it, I can go ahead and right-click my mouse and choose width. And it asks me for a starting width. Okay, now my starting width and my ending width are going to be the same. So see, it says down here, starting width. So what I want to do is I'm going to type in 0.05 for my starting width. And then it asks me for my ending width. And you'll notice that the default is 0.05. So if I hit my enter key, it'll accept that value. So I hit my enter key. And now we're good to go. I'm going to go up to here, and I can go ahead and drop this right down to there, and boom, I have drawn that. So now I have my polyline. Now I just have to copy it 48 times around here. So how would I do that? Well, there happens to be this very wonderful tool in AutoCAD called the array command, and one of them is right up here. And the array command can give you a rectangular array, which is essentially copies in rows and columns, or you can actually do a polar array. And a polar array allows you to do an array of items around a center. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my polar array, and I'm going to go ahead and grab on this item right here. I click on that, and once I click on it, I'm done selecting objects. So once I've selected objects, I can right-click my mouse or hit my enter key or hit the space bar, and it brings me to the next prompt. Now watch what happens. I'm going to right-click, boom. And when I do that, it asks me for the center point of the array. Well, the center point is going to be the center because I want them all to revolve around here. So I click there. Now, once I've clicked that, you'll notice that it's giving me, by default, 6 items, and the ribbon changes. And this is my polar array ribbon. So now I'm going to go up here and change it to 48. Go ahead and make 48 copies around that center. And you'll notice that they show up right now. And I know those are perfect because I've done this drawing many, many times, but that's what it's supposed to look like. When you're done, you click on Close Array, and you're good to go. And you'll notice that these are all one unit now. So each of those polylines that make up that 48-piece array, it's all one now. If I wanted them not to be anymore, I could explode them, which is right up here. Explode command allows you to explode an object. So I click on this, and I've exploded. These are all individual elements now. They're all individual polylines. However, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go to Control-Z to undo it and to bring it back and make them all one again. So anyway, we're good to go. So I've got that. I did an array. Now, you'll notice in the drawing that there are green lines, and the green lines are also arrayed around, only those are not polylines. So for that, I can just use a regular line command, and I'm going to change my layer to lines, and I'm going to go to my line command, and I'm going to go up from here, down to here. I'm going to click there. Now what I can do is I can create an array in the same way, and there's only 24 of these. So I'll start the array command, and the array command is here. So I go here again, and I click on my object. And then to get to my next prompt, what do? I right-click, I hit my enter key, or I hit the space bar. This time, I'll spice it up, and I'll hit the space bar. Now I'm going to give it the center point of the array, boom. And now it's also giving me 6, which is the default, and that's got to be changed to 24. Boom, and that is that. So now I've got a lot of my information here. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to go ahead and save it as drawing H just so I have it. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to call it drawing H. I like to do it all capitals just because I do. Drawing H. Boom. All right, now that is the toughest part right there. Now the rest of these are just basic lines. Okay, now I'll do these just to show you how they work.